Week 7 is almost in the book, so I'm bringing you 10 waiver wire and trade targets that you need to be adding to your team heading into Week 8 fantasy football. And starting it off on the waiver wire, first player we're going to talk about is Keon Coleman for the Buffalo Bills. And listen, we saw Amari Cooper absolutely pop off. They had the one play where Keon looked at Amari, where Josh Allen changed the play. Keon told him just run straight. Amari Cooper ended up catching a touchdown. But we've been waiting on this breakout for Keon Coleman. Keon Coleman, 7 targets, 4 receptions for 125 yards. Right now on Sleeper, Keon Coleman is 52% rostered, so he is out there in 48% of your leagues. And we see in this game that Keon Coleman had 41 snaps, ran 29 routes run, and had 7 total targets. Like we said, we're going to see Amari Cooper probably going to overtake Mac Hollins in this offense. It was super exciting to see Keon Coleman absolutely emerge. So especially when you're looking at waiver wires at this point in the season, Keon Coleman is a guy that I like to add because we know that he's going to have someone on the other side in an offense with Josh Allen that continues to kind of progress as we head into the season. Absolutely love Keon Coleman as my first waiver wire target. My second waiver wire target is going to be Romeo Doubs for the Green Bay Packers. And Romeo, where out there, Romeo? Romeo Doubs is 63% roster, so he might not be available in your redraft league, especially after last week where he put up 19 fantasy points. But this week comes back with 17 fantasy points, had 10 targets for 8 receptions and 94 yards. And I, for one, owe everybody an apology because I was really high on Jayden Reed this week, and Jayden Reed only had 4 targets, did not have the same amount of results that a guy like Romeo Doubs had. Romeo Doubs led the team in snaps, also led the team in routes run, and also had the most targets. So absolutely love to see that out of Romeo Doubs. Definitely have to be adding him in this Jordan Love-led offense. Just continues to be pretty efficient. Now, we did see Tucker Kraft have a good day, so there just seems to be a lot of mouths to feed in the receiving corps between Tucker Kraft, Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, Jayden Reed, Dontavion Wicks. Even a guy like Bo Melton is getting involved. So I understand why you might be a little hesitant adding Romeo, but definitely think Romeo is worth a waiver wire add if he is out there on your waiver wire. My third waiver wire target, it is going to be Hunter Henry. And we've talked about how desolate the tight end landscape has been. And there's a chance Hunter Henry is already rostered in your league, but he is 29% rostered on Sleeper. So go out and get some Hunter Henry. The last 2 weeks, 13 fantasy points, and then this week, 17 fantasy points. The Drake May addition into this offense has kind of lighted a fire for Hunter Henry. Now, we didn't see a good day from Ramondre Stevenson, so we'll have to see how that impacts the rest of the weapons in this Patriots offense. But 9 targets for 8 receptions, 92 yards in this London game. You got to feel pretty good about it, especially when he's getting 52 snaps, 35 routes run, and 9 total targets. He actually led the team in targets today. So Hunter Henry, third waiver wire target that you need to be adding. Like I said, we're going to provide 2 more waiver wire targets. These are going to be a little bit deeper. Like we said, this tight end landscape right now, you just need a guy with a pulse. And we talked a little bit about Jonnu Smith and some deep start sit decisions this week with you guys. But Jonnu Smith, 7% rostered, had himself 22 fantasy points, 7 targets, 7 receptions, 96 yards, and had 1 total touchdown. The thing that's exciting though, before their week 6 bye in week 5 versus New England, he also had 11 fantasy points. So like I said, without Tua Tagovailoa, he might be coming back next week, which will help Tyreek, which will help Jalen Waddle. But Tyler Huntley has really struggled to push the ball downfield. And that has absolutely benefited a guy like Jonnu Smith. So definitely might want to check into Jonnu Smith. Like I said, 7% rostered on Sleeper, definitely worthy of a waiver wire add if you're super desperate at the tight end position. And then this might be one for a deeper league, but want to talk a little bit about Cedrick Tillman turning into an absolute alpha for the Cleveland Browns. We see the terrible Deshaun Watson Achilles injury, but that brings in DTR, that brings in Jameis Winston. Cedrick Tillman, 12 total targets for 8 receptions, 81 yards. And we saw this offense really benefit David Njoku, and it really benefited Cedrick Tillman, especially with no Amari Cooper. Cedrick Tillman is the best receiving option on the wide receiver front with no Amari Cooper going forward. So I'm excited for Cedrick Tillman. I know people might say Jared Jeudy or Elijah Moore. I think those boats have sailed. I think Cedrick Tillman, if you're going to have a deeper rostering, he's only 1% roster. So definitely out there available for the taking if you are interested in a guy like a Cedrick Tillman. Now, transitioning over to having some trades, we're going to actually go through and talk through the players, but also give you some different trading options and live trades that have happened here today. The first player we're going to be talking about in this trade section, it's going to be Cooper Kupp. And if you owned Cooper Kupp or you know someone that owned Cooper Kupp, they've been waiting for Cooper Kupp to play some football over these last few weeks. We got so excited because we thought we were going to be able to stick him in our lineup this week. And then reports come out, hey, he's not going to play this week. He's going to be looking to play next week, which is fine, unless you're a struggling Cooper Kupp owner. If you're a struggling Cooper Kupp owner, you might be a little bit desperate. So when we start to look at trades that have gone down for a guy like Cooper Kupp and Brock Purdy for Kyren Williams. I mean, personally for me, I'd went the Kyren Williams side, but someone traded Cooper Kupp straight up for Mike Evans. Of course, if I could get the Mike Evans side, that's what I want. But I want to show some deals that might be a little bit more realistic that I actually like here. So like we got one, like we said, these all happened today. Devontae Smith was traded straight up for Cooper Kupp. I don't know about you. I think Devontae Smith Smith with A.J. Brown. We know that Devontae Smith will be like a wide receiver 2 territory. Cooper Kupp does have that wide receiver 1 overall ceiling. I like that. We have DeAndre Swift and Michael Pittman traded for Cooper Kupp. I do like that Cooper Kupp side. We got Kareem Hunt, Najee Harris traded for Cooper Kupp. I understand if you need the running back help on the right side, but I still think I lean Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp for Travis Kelce, Cooper Kupp for T. Higgins. Like, I lean the Cooper Kupp side there as well. So a lot of good trades for Cooper Kupp, but I definitely want you to be considering Cooper Kupp going forward. I mean, he had a ton of fantasy points in that week 1 game. We haven't seen him since. What this offense is going to look like with both him and Puka Nacua healthy, still TBD because we haven't seen it enough, but I do think it is worthy of us trying to trade for some Cooper Kupp. My second trade target is actually going to be his teammate. It's going to be Puka Nacua. He did not practice this last week. We're a little bit worried about with him being on a lot of projections are him like week 8, week 9, week 10 being back. So you kind of have to be in a solid position on your team because you're going to have to trade something of value, but what is that value to your fantasy football team? That's kind of the determining factor for me when we're looking at overall trades for Puka Nacua. When we start to pull up some deals, like we said, if you own Puka Nacua, he's kind of sitting there in your IR spot. We're looking at deals like someone traded Xavier Legette for Isaiah Pacheco, Puka Nacua. Give me that Puka Nacua side. We could scroll down like Tyrone Tracy, Romeo Doubs for Puka Nacua. Give me that Puka Nacua side. Someone traded Rico Dowdle and Wanda Robinson to get Ramondre and Puka Nacua. Like that probably shouldn't have gone through. That should get vetoed. But I do like the Puka Nacua side. We got Puka Nacua straight up for J.K. Dobbins. Give me Puka Nacua. DeAndre Hopkins, Kareem Hunt for Puka Nacua. I think a lot of times you guys come into these trade videos and you're like, Caleb, these trades are not going to be actually able to get done. Well, they're getting done in some leagues. So if you are a manager, ask me some trade questions. Ask me some start skate questions down below. I'm helping you win your fantasy football league. So hit that subscribe button on the way to 4,000 subscribers once you're here in the community answering all questions. Now we move to my third trade target. And like I said, we're kind of getting to the point where I'm not necessarily telling you to buy low, sell high. I'm just telling you, hey, these are guys that I'm currently trying to target on my fantasy football teams. And I think you need to as well. The next guy is going to be Alvin Kamara, who had a super down week this week in that Thursday night football game. But Alvin Kamara, if we look historically right now, he is still the number 1 running back at this current time. Like we said, 7 attempts for 10 yards was not great on Thursday night, but he did have that 7 targets for 6 receptions, 14 yards. So even in PPR, I still put up 8.4 fantasy points. Like that feels like the worst game of his whole entire year, and he only put up 8.4 points. So for me, if there was a buy low window for Alvin Kamara, it has opened up this week. So I'm definitely trying to go trade and buy some Alvin Kamara. So when you're starting to look at what are some deals that I can go do to get an Alvin Kamara on my fantasy football team, we're talking like Marvin Harrison Jr., Alvin Kamara for Saquon Barkley, Nico Collins. Man. I mean, I think that's a fair deal. You got to decide which side of that coin you want. I think you could argue you want that Saquon Barkley, Nico Collins side, but that's a lot. Someone traded Ramondre Stevenson, Josh Downs for Alvin Kamara. I love that. Amari Cooper, CMC for Alvin Kamara. I love that deal for Alvin Kamara. James Conner, Deebo Samuel for Alvin Kamara. Love the Alvin Kamara side. Javonte and TJ Hawkinson for Alvin Kamara. J.K. Dobbins, Amon-Ra for Alvin Kamara, Jameson Williams. I mean, that one's close as well. I think I lean the J.K. Dobbins, Amon-Ra side, but like I said, some of these are super close. Some of these are pretty clear as day. Marvin Harrison Jr., Jordan Mason, especially with CMC coming back, getting a guy like Alvin Kamara. I love that deal. So a lot of trades on the horizon that you could potentially be doing for Alvin Kamara, but Alvin Kamara is my next trade target. Now, we're going to bring 2 more trade targets in this video. The next one we're going to be talking about is Tony Pollard, who today did not have the best Tony Pollard day because he did get that hit in the head. Came back in, avoided the concussion, scoreless, only 61 yards. This Titans offense with their lack of quarterback production, definitely struggling, but Tony Pollard continues to dominate the snap share, continues to absolutely be trying to put up fantasy football points. He is an RB20 currently right now, so wherever you drafted him, you have to feel good about that current value. But I do think if you're a Tony Pollard owner, you're a little bit depressed with how today's performance went compared to in previous weeks. So when we start to look at what some trades have gone down, okay, cool. I'm not trading Tony Pollard for Tyreek Hill. I'm not trading Tony Pollard for Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm not trading those guys for Tony Pollard. I'm not trading Garrett Wilson for Tony Pollard. Honestly, like, could you do like the Amari Cooper for Tony Pollard, Rashad Bateman? I think that's a fair deal. We could scroll down even a little bit more. A lot of like big package deals. Someone got off DK Metcalf, got Jonnu Smith, Tony Pollard, Khalil Shakir, like Deebo Samuel for Tony Pollard straight up. I think that's an interesting deal, especially after today. Another one, Deebo Samuel for Tony Pollard. I'm cool with that. Nico Collins for Tony Pollard. I'm cool with that, especially if you do need a running back. I want Nico Collins to come back fully healthy, but you're still going to have to wait a few weeks. So trying to get that proven production on your team now versus waiting for these injured players. I know we talked about getting some injured players on your team earlier in these trade videos, but I do think it is valuable to be getting some proven production on your team as well. And my last and final player that we're going to be talking about buying, it is going to be Kyle Pitts for the Atlanta Falcons. And Kyle Pitts right now, the last 3 weeks, 15, 10, and 13 fantasy points. He's getting the target share, he's getting the receptions, and he's getting the yards. And in a tight end landscape where pretty much besides Brock Bowers, there are question marks week after week after week. So when I'm looking at guys like Kyle Pitts, I just want to be trying to add him to my team. Now, paying up for a tight end is never really a great idea because we do know how they hypothetically score less warp, wins above replacement over other positions, especially in redraft when we're talking running backs, wide receivers. But having the peace of mind of knowing you have a guy in there that's going to try to at least get you top 5 tight end production week in and week out definitely helps. So let's see what people are trading. Okay, first off, someone traded Sam Laporta, Deebo Samuel, Darnell Mooney for Kyle Pitts. If you can get that, maybe we should be arguing that Kyle Pitts is a sell high. But if you can get Kyle Pitts and Chase Brown and trade away Nick Chubb, Pat Freiermuth, and Amari Cooper, I'm 100% cool with that deal. If we're talking Kyle Pitts versus George Pickens for Brandon Ayuk, of course, after that probably went down before today's games. Shout out to whoever got that Brandon Ayuk side. That is depressing. Someone traded Josh Downs straight up for Kyle Pitts. Give me the Kyle Pitts side easily there. Zay Flowers got the tier down to DJ Moore and Kyle Pitts. I want the DJ Moore Kyle Pitts side. Tank Bigsby for Kyle Pitts. Give me Kyle Pitts. Devin Singletary for Kyle Pitts. Give me Kyle Pitts. And like I said, a lot of these deals went down before today's game, so I understand that you have to kind of take this all with a grain of salt. I do think Kyle Pitts is a guy you need to be adding to your team. So if you want to win a fantasy football championship, if you want me to answer all your start state questions this season, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. On the way to 4,000 subscribers, answering every question. Want you here in the community we're building, and I want to see you win a fantasy football championship and win each and every single week. Like I said, guys, if you haven't tuned into these 2 videos, check out these 2 videos, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.